Hi, fellow dog fanciers! Welcome back to a new episode of the life and the adventures of this monkey here, also known as Aris the Whippet pup. In today's video, I will tell you about how she made a new Whippet puppy friend, and I will also show you their very first play date. But before that, I want to show you as well how she did with having her nails trimmed, and also some small things I taught her here and there to make our lives a bit easier. Before I begin, for new viewers, I am Adriana, call me Adi for short if you want. I've had whippets for 15 years, I'm currently owned by 8 of them, and I make breed-specific videos. Occasionally I make some others on dog and animal related topics, so if that sounds like it's your type of content, subscribe, support the channel, and join our growing Whippet fam. Let's get into the video. Some of the things I wanted her to learn may not be necessary for your dog or your household, but are important to the dogs in ours, and I wanted to share them with you. Of course, there is way more than what I will show you here in this video, because I work with a particular timeline, so I will show you the rest as the time comes, or maybe I will include everything in one summarized video, why not? The first one was to give space to our old girl Lacey while she was eating. Puppy migrated to the chair over there. Grandma Lacey used to spend most of her days here in my room, not anymore, but at the time she did, and Puppy, being my Velcro dog, did as well. I swear I couldn't even drink my morning coffee without this child. Lacey eats small portions of food numerous times a day, and she also eats very slowly. I never wanted to lock Puppy outside in the meantime, but I also didn't want her to invade Grandma's feeding bowl, as appetizing as it might be. So I told her to wait on a chair and leave Lacey and her food alone. You don't need to ask, of course she was paid with treats for her patience and respect for the elderly. Another thing was a recall in the house with a hand signal only. We have 8 whippets, and sometimes I will need to work with, go out with, or spend time with only one of them. If I say name come, everyone's coming, trust me. If I show a hand signal to only the one that I need when no one else is watching, then I don't have to deal with a herd of excited mini goats when I only need one of them. She's very smart, so she learned quickly. Of course, no was the most useful thing she learned from the day she walked in this house. If it wasn't for this magical word, this interesting moving ball would not have survived. Obviously, being calm during her manicure was a must for me. I showed you our foundation in one of the first videos on the series about Aris, and I wasn't lying when I told you she slept when she was having her nails done. And her hind legs have always been very ticklish, so what you see here is a reflex and not fighting against the Dremel. What is the most useful thing or command you taught your dog? Tell us in the comments down below so that we can all get good ideas from each other. Aris was not just actively learning things from me, but also from our other whippets. For example, when Ivy says it's game over, we must listen. Sometimes the game was over due to external factors. Don't worry, she's fine. Speaking of play, that's our Whippet's best French buddy. You've also seen him in my All About Whippets Off Leash video. But I can't deny that Whippets play best with other Whippets. Maybe it's the same for other breeds as well, that they recognize their kind and have a special way of interacting. Our first Whippet, Daira, grew up in a pack of Labradors because we went to the park and on a lot of occasions with a large group of lab owners. Back then there weren't many Whippets, so we had none to play with, but she loved her large happy-go-lucky friends. And then one time we went to a dog show in Austria where quite a few Whippets were entered, and as soon as she saw them, she got so fixated on them like she saw a mirror. It was very cute. A Whippet can be great with other dogs, but wait and see what happens when they see another Whippet. The way they communicate with each other is one of a kind. Speaking of Whippets, to give you the background of how Aris made a new Whippet puppy friend, let me touch on a little bit on the Whippets in my country. I'm obviously obsessed with the breed and I advocate for ethical breeding and responsible ownership, and so I like to cause trouble for bad owners and backyard breeders. Due to this, I naturally keep track of all Whippets across the country. On the other hand, I go above and beyond to help responsible people find a Whippet and raise it appropriately, and I do my best to personally educate those who show me true desire to learn for no personal benefits other than the joy that brings me. I know where all Whippets come from, who bred them, and what is their parentage, and I am embarrassed to say that out of approximately 200 Whippets, less than 10% are well bred and responsibly owned. If we subtract my 8 dogs from this percentage, you can conclude how badly a rather rare breed is treated here. These are statistical facts and I can at any point back them with solid proof and receipts. So whenever a Whippet from a responsible source is imported here, I find out one way or another. And that's how we met Aris's new best friend Lumi, who also by coincidence happens to be Juby's niece. For those of you who are new here, Juby is a young Whippet boy who is one of my Whippet's pack best friends. Their first play date was chaotic to say the least, mainly because we weren't at a location where we could safely let them off leash this time. And as you can probably tell, even though Lumi is a month and a half younger, she is close to being Aris's opposite in terms of attitude. While our Aris is very calm and collected, Lumi's excitement can't stay hidden. So our girl was a bit unsure what to do about that at the beginning. She was not used to having a playmate like this yet. But as I've explained before, she adapts very easily to the other dog's play style. She's like, you wanna play tug? Alright, let's play. You want to wrestle? Let's do it. You just want to exist right next to me, I won't bother you. Or as in this case, you want to play the bitey game, you got it. And that was the beginning of a four-legged friendship for Aris and Lumi, who also had more playdates in the future, all of them off leash. Will I show you? You don't need to ask. And also a great friendship for us as Lumi is owned by an amazing, responsible couple. And I think that is enough for today's video. I'm not quite sure what I am going to post next week. For sure it will be either something that's on the timeline or another topic that I want to talk about, and there is one that I'm quite excited about, which is rules I follow when raising a Whippet puppy, and I believe it will be useful for many of you. Which one will it be? I will decide somewhere the following days. Obviously, if there is something specific you want me to talk about, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. Have a lovely weekend and a fantastic week afterwards, and I will see you next Friday with a new video. Bye bye!